If you told me months ago that the next Fire Emblem game was gonna be a linear, gacha-inspired return to form that dials back romance and sim elements, I would have believed you, because these guys shoot themselves in the foot all the time. But Fire Emblem Engage is very enjoyable, with fun maps, world building, and more unit customization through emblems. You can adopt dogs. You want me to go on? It's a lot of fun so far. However, like with other recent Fire Emblems, it couldn't fix the one small issue at the center of the game. This guy.
As you wish, Divine One. You whose bravery knows no equal.
No, let's run.
Huh?
We haven't the slightest idea who they are, and we don't know how they came to be here. Also, they worry me for some reason.
Oh lord, here we go again. Remember when the leaks came and people were like, no, fake Chinese mobile game gacha pachinko NFT, there's no way this design could actually be real, followed by some of the best slamming of a main character's design sense. I actually felt this was somewhat encouraging because they looked unorthodox, and I'm always ready for something that bends expectations, because you'd think for someone with this appearance they'd have a bit more personality behind this expression. But Alear, he's just not that engaging. Alear is overflowing with very regular hero qualities. He doesn't do anything that isn't be a taxi for the game's plot. Just, let's save the world, let's get the rings, let's order dominoes, 2 for $6.99. When you fight a boss, he says, this is going to be a tough battle. When you win, he says, gee, that was a tough battle. Half the time he's asking questions because the game does not for 1 second try to switch up the very static technique of exposition or formulaic storytelling that's supposed to push the character's resolve into focus. And of course, just a touch of amnesia to DoorDash some late game development. He's boring as shit, and I couldn't care for 90% of what he says or does, but it becomes a larger problem when the rest of the characters do all the time.
Thanks for filling me in, Fram. You too, Clan.
The Divine One said our names and thanked us.
I think I'm going to faint.
That I might live to see you standing before me. What an honor.
The Divine One looked right at me! Thank you, Universe.
Imagine speaking so casually with the Divine Dragon. I'm actually a little honored to help out the Divine One. If staring at me lifts your mood, go ahead and stare all you want.
The constant praise and pedestaling of a wooden hero, this is when that flaccidity starts to leak onto others, because if I can't be convinced this guy is worth something and other characters try to do it for me and I'm still not buying it, then what is all this dialogue for? I mean, seriously, we're 5 minutes in and they're already drooling. Why? Because Fire Emblem wants you to feel good, not him, you. It was born from the self-insert era, and if you'd like a quick history lesson, actually, you know what? Let's just tell the whole story. In the late 2000s, Fire Emblem was not doing well, Radiant Dawn was too hard for the motion control crowd, Shadow Dragon looked like a CW show, numbers were hitting the bottom hard, so the execs at Intelligent Systems had not one idea, 2 of them, and I hate myself for making that joke. The first was to ramp up those dating sim anime tropes, more characters, quirkier personalities, art style, romance, and even kids. The second was to give a player a hand in the game so that you, too, could participate in the matchmaking bonsai. Yeah, Persona did the same thing way earlier. They literally said, in Persona 3, you can be in a relationship. Awakening let you customize a character, pick a voice, and even some of the cutscenes are in first person so that you could really feel like you were in the game, and honestly, it was pretty nice. Robin was simple, agreeable, clever. He didn't have tons going on, but enough for him in the game to feel accessible for the new audiences Awakening was after. Some people felt that traditional values from the series were being traded out for superficial marketable ones, and they were probably right. But regardless of what anyone thinks of it, we Fire Emblem fans have to respect Awakening because without it, the series would have died with Shadow Dragon. It did.
Who put this in my goddamn lava badge game?
After Awakening sold through the roof, Intelligent Systems began to understand what modern gaming demographics enjoyed. Thus began the wave of self-insert avatar-style main characters, and that's when we get to Corrin. This guy fucking sucks. He's one-dimensional, confused, motivationally basic. I mean, he's literally named after a vegetable. But the units all worship the ground you walk on from the very beginning of the game, and it's like, why? Why do we love this guy so much? We just met him. He makes stupid decisions like it's his job, and he earns $40 each time he makes one. Fire Emblem Conquest might be one of the most enjoyable in the series from a gameplay standpoint, but to get here, you have to watch your mom get killed by these people and say, oh, well, they might have a point. No surprise that this game also sold well, being split into 3, but everybody hated that, and they let Intelligent Systems know. So for Fire Emblem 3 Houses, they packed all the different routes into one game, with one very shitty main character. 3 years ago, I came back with a video called Why Fire Emblem 3 Houses Was My Most Disappointing Game of 2019. You might think this is me plugging my own content, but do not go watch it. It is really bad and old. But I did have some points if I can give my former self some credit, because there's a whole section in there dedicated to Byleth, the pre-established silent main insert. How is that possible? Well, I can't tell you without spoiling, but I also can't tell you to go play the game because I care about you. Basically, you pick the name, gender, and choices. The game wants you to think you're Byleth, but then gives some third act reasons why you are not. The identity crisis is not the issue, though. It's his emotionless presence. I have never been reminded more that I am on the opposite side of a screen than when a silent dude is interacting with a group of fully voiced personalities. It is hilariously awkward, once again made jarringly worse when everyone starts to praise you for literally a sentence. At least with Corrin, he was speaking directly to the allies, the villains, interacting with the plot. But Byleth is so anti-immersive and completely dependent on everyone else to shape his contribution, it's the furthest thing from connecting. I just don't get Intelligent Systems. How are you gonna have me as your demographic but expect me to be able to relate to someone born as royalty, a dragon, a god? Well, maybe that last one. These people aren't just ideal, they are perfect, to the point where everyone around you is bowing down with endless worship, and I have to stop and recognize the fact that I am really not that special. I'm just some guy. If only Fire Emblem had a protagonist that wasn't a prince or nobility or god-infused. If only I could immerse and relate myself through a character who was just some guy. I know, his catchphrase is literally, I fight for my friends. Yeah, whatever. But if you actually dish out the $400 to play these two games, you'll see Ike is just some dude. For starters, the fact that he has two games is definitely an advantage. He's the only Fire Emblem character not of a noble birth except for Byleth, who, you know. My point is that Ike's journey to power resonates so much better with the player because he is just some backwoods guy, and it shows in his flaws. He's hot-headed, he's brash, he doesn't always prioritize the best interest for everyone, but sometimes his own agenda, and he fucking hates politics, blatantly calling out nobles to their face. But it humanizes him. It's way easier to relate to the character who gets angry or unreasonable rather than the perfect goody two-shoes who just wants to stop the fighting and bring peace to Tethe'ala. Characters in Fates, 3 Houses, and Engage will instantly kiss your ass after meeting you 5 seconds because you're just so important. But you wanna know what happens to Ike? When he gets to be the leader, half your party just fucking leaves. Screw this kid, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm just gonna dip and come back when he's proven himself in like 21 chapters. Please play these games, I don't spoil that much. My point is that Intelligent Systems knows how to write a smart, interesting, unpredictable character. Celica and Alm are lovers with a twist, Ellawood and Hector are lovers with a twist. Last year's 3 Hopes had this guy, and I mean shit, they made Paper Mario, peak writing. Perhaps I shouldn't have expected so much from the game that literally has to borrow from other Fire Emblems with a gimmick so familiar to JRPGs. I get they wanted to simplify it, so let me simplify this. Perfection is an error. If I'm playing a game where everyone just praises and loves me no matter what, then I know I'm playing a game. But when people are rude, flirty, problematic, nonsensical, backstabbing even, that's when I'm like, oh my god, literally me. And that is not Alear. He's one of the most sacred and powerful beings from the minute you turn the game on, instantly beloved with zero personality. What little growth he has after that seems narratively pointless and just not vivid from a player's perspective. But when other characters start to vouch for him, it affects them too. I should probably mention that the plot as a whole feels like a third grade creative exercise, which is unfortunate considering how fun the rest of the game is. Yeah, if you avoid reading anything, it's a really good Fire Emblem game. I might talk about it more in the future. I just really wish it could have been the one to finally give us back a well-rounded main hero, but for now I'll finish with, at least he's not this guy.
Dad! Ike!
Oh, missed.